Hi, I'm Jordan Ty, that Rucking guy, and it's day 15. Alright, so listen up, guys. Every year we spend $800 billion on the military. That's enough to fight 2 Russias and 2 Chinas combined, right? And you're telling me we don't have $40 billion to end hunger? We can't cut the budget just 1 year and spend a little bit less money? How about we cut the military budget in half and just spend enough money to fight 1 Russia and 1 China? Because there's only 1 Russia and only 1 China. And also, why would we ever beef with those countries? Or China specifically? I know we're supposed to hate China or some shit, but it's we get all our stuff from China, so why would we ever want to start a beef with them? They wouldn't even have to fight us. They would just have to stop sending all the stuff they send to us, and then within 2 weeks we'd be like, oh shit, there's nothing left. You know? And then Russia, fucking Russia? You mean the people having a hard time with Ukraine? Now shout out to Ukraine, but Russia was supposed to run through those guys in 2 weeks, and this conflict is still going on. If Russia can't handle Ukraine, what makes you think they're going to handle us? And also, any war that would be tried to be had with America, you're not getting here. War is fought on the oceans. And so first of all, you got to get here first. And you're not gonna, because we have 8 aircraft carriers, and the next country with the most after us is China with 2 or 3, and I think they're trying to get to 3 or 4 by fucking 2036 or some shit like that. So it's even if they double it, we still have double that. And again, war only makes sense in the past, and it's just okay, I guess that was the only way we could have solved that problem. But no, it wasn't. But yeah, so we can't cut the military budget in half, or at least just 1 year. Just take off $100 billion and improve societal conditions a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't think the moment we let our guard down for a second, every other country in the world is gonna get them, you know. And again, even if they did, they're not powerful enough to do anything to us. Well, they can't even get here, and even if they got here, there are more guns than people here. So, you know. But yeah, we spend way too much on the military, and it's yeah, anyway, do you know that if the minimum wage had kept up with inflation, that the minimum wage would be about $30 an hour right now? Which means that if you currently make $15 an hour, which 40% of the country does, and the federal minimum wage is $7.25, so you make double the minimum wage. So if you're making 15, you're actually supposed to be making $60 an hour, because it's double the minimum wage. And so every hour you work at $15 an hour, your boss is stealing $45 an hour from you. I mean, imagine how much better your life would be with an extra $45 an hour in your pocket. You might actually be able to, I don't know, live a life and enjoy it. But so yeah, just think about that every time you're at work. This motherfucker's stealing $45 an hour from you. And what's crazy is that people hear $60 an hour and they're like, oh, absolutely no way. People would have to give their lives in the fight for $60 an hour. And the worst part is that getting to $60 an hour is just returning to the fuck ass $15 an hour of the 80s, right? Like, getting to 60 is just getting back to like 15 back in the day, as if it had kept up with inflation. So it's not even like we're getting a huge pay raise. We're just getting back to the usual level of capitalist exploitation that at least was enough to take care of yourself. Like back in the day, like a motherfucker could provide for his family, wife, car, kids, dog, cat, yearly vacation, save for retirement, send your kids to college on one dude's salary, and have a secret family on the side across town. Like, and now there's nowhere in the continental United States that you can afford to live on your own, even if you had a full-time job. Like, and the thing is that capitalism always suggests like, oh, you should get a better job. But by better, you mean more corporate, or like more white collar, and more made up, you know? It's like, I'm a talent acquisition specialist for a large consulting firm. What the fuck did you just say to me? You know what I mean? Like, the more words it takes for you to describe what you do, the more bullshit your job is, you know? I'm a nurse, I'm a truck driver, I'm a, you know, I work in retail. Not, I'm a social media marketing manager, strategist for a, like, shut up. And then two, like, not many jobs can be made up. Most jobs got to be real fucking jobs that get something done. But it seems like the only jobs that pay well are like these frou-frou ass manager jobs, or like, you know what I mean? These like fake titles and fake authority. And so it's like, okay, yeah, you have authority, you manage the team, but you don't do shit. And if that's the only person that can get paid well, what if we just had a team of fucking supervisors and managers who weren't doing shit? Like, it can't work like that. So what about all the people that actually have like real jobs? And yeah, I don't understand how it's like a very basic principle, right? Of like, hey, if you take care of your citizens, they'll be happy and like life will be good. And capitalism says, fuck them. We don't have to make them happy in order to exploit them for their labor. Just exploit them for their labor. And that is something that capitalism learned early on, is that like, oh, life just continues. Like, yeah, you could be upset that your pay got docked, but you're not gonna quit, right? Or like, you know, corporate is like, well, you're gonna take on the jobs of two people now, so get used to it. And it's like, you're gonna give me a pay raise, right? No, same amount of pay, double the responsibility. How's that sound? And it's like, well, I can't quit. And so every year capitalism gets worse, knowing that, like, what are we gonna do? I still need groceries, I still gotta eat, so I'm gonna pay for them, no matter how fuck ass the price is, you know? And so that's how they get away with it. It's just like, yeah, because again, we never stop, we never pause and be like, all right guys, what is going on? And that's what we need. I think we need like a great pause. I think it might happen after somebody does it, or it happens, especially if it's like during, you know, the time that we're currently in. Then it's like, okay, who's next? And I know who's next, but I feel like there might be some power grab for it instead of him. And then during that time where we don't know who's running shit, I think we're all going to be like, wait. The options are like this Republican fuckface and this Republican fuckface. I don't want any of those dudes. You know, and it's like, right, there are more choices out there. It's not just, well, you know, there is no left and right in this country. There's right and then there's center. Because like, there are leftist people, there are not leftist politicians. At least not in any real meaningful way. Like, there are one, maybe two, but the rest of them are fucking just regular ass, centrist ass Democrats who, I don't know, might mean well, but yeah, they ain't doing what we need them to be doing. But one of the tenements of communism is to each according to their need, to each according to their ability. Now, doesn't that sound like hard work pays off? Like, if you're a doctor, if you're, a lawyer or a professional athlete, yeah, you're gonna make more than other people do, right? And if you're handicapped and you need a wheelchair, the government's just gonna give you one because you need it. You know what I mean? Or like, you need hearing aids, like the government's gonna give it to you because you need it. But in America, it's like, oh yeah, I know you need a wheelchair, but can you afford one? And it's like, I have insurance. Well, unfortunately, you got your wheelchair from the right store, but the guy who made the wheelchair is not within network, so you're gonna have to pay fully out of pocket for it. It's like, what the fuck? I specifically asked you not to go to somebody outside of my network. It's like, well, we tried, but I guess that's not how it worked out. So that's gonna be $25,000. And you're like, for a fucking wheelchair? And it's like, yeah, it's a pretty high technology going into these things. It's like, it's two wheels on a fucking chair. I mean, I know it's more complicated than that, but when that shit's $25,000, no, it ain't. But yeah, I truly don't understand how we just sacrifice most people for the sake of profit. Especially because, like, we're most people. Like, we're the 99%. How are most of us like, no, this is fine. Actually, one day I want to become an exploiter too. Let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about. New movie that came out, my thoughts on a video game. Throw me something and I'll turn it into politics. I gotta double check more often. I'm running out of space. And then it's like, I'm still trying to figure out my workflow, I guess. Like, where I keep the raws, where I keep the edits. Okay, after it's done on YouTube, I edit those into shorts. Like, when can I delete the raw? Because I don't need it because I have the YouTube video now. And well, what about the TikToks? And well, it's actually more space if you keep it on CapCut. And it's like, oh, okay, so delete, get my projects off of CapCut, keep it on my phone. So that's why I keep running out of storage currently. But it's crazy.
Wait.
It's crazy that class consciousness is definitely on the rise these days. And here's the thing about capitalism, is that capitalism won't even save itself. Like, people are getting more and more upset. People are becoming disillusioned with capitalism and the American way and this and that. And you really could send 90% of the revolution home tomorrow if you just paid people more money. If you're like, all right, we'll pay you 60. Most people would go home and just be like, all right, well, that's all I wanted. And it's like, no, we need to get rid of the electoral college. We need ranked choice voting. We need universal health care. We need, this, that, and the third. And they're like, yeah, but we're getting paid more. And it's like, no, but there were no guarantees that they can't raise prices exponentially. So yes, they're going to pay you more money, but they're going to make everything more expensive, which just, yeah, well, we're stuck in the same position. But like, capitalism won't even do that. Capitalism won't even like pretend to give a shit and be like, okay, don't revolt. To the point where we're not going to want pay raises. We're going to want communism. We're going to want socialism. You know? And they like just still, they won't even save themselves, let alone the planet. So, if capitalism won't even save itself, why are we trying to uphold it or defend it or keep it, you know? Sorry, hold on. It's a gun-free school zone. Then how'd I get these in here? Yeah, fucking dumb. I just love me a good dad joke, good dad pun. My dad is such a fucking... he shares literal like newspaper comic memes. And I'm like, I mean, they're funny, you know, they're dad jokes for sure, but the fact that it's still like just a newspaper comic instead of like an updated, you know, meme is hilarious to me. Oh, oh, ran out of steam. I did, I'm like my little engine that tank ass, a little engine that could. I'm like, capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism, white supremacy. It's really stupid, really fucking stupid. And then I'm like, I ran out of coal. Start falling back down the mountain. No! Yeah. If you're ever in Arizona, I need you guys to go to Gadzooks Enchiladas and Soup. I found that was a miracle find, that restaurant. We were on our way to a hardcore show in Phoenix, I think. And we're driving, we're like 20 minutes away, we're almost to the venue. And then our friend Tom he's like, I really gotta pee, I gotta go. And I'm like, okay, we'll find somewhere, we'll get there soon. And eventually got to the point where it's like, I need you to pull over anywhere, please. And so I'm driving and I see a driveway open up to my right, and I'm like, I'll pull into here. There's gotta be a bathroom in here or something. I pull up, it's Gadzooks Enchiladas and Soup, and we're like, oh, we'll use the bathroom and maybe we'll get some food. Brother, you get some enchiladas, you pick your meat, you pick your sauces, you get some goat cheese on the inside of the enchilada, fried egg on top, even more sauce, and then you take that beautiful soupy bowl of enchiladas, because yeah, it's got goat cheese, regular cheese, red salsa, green salsa, crema, a different kind of sauce, a different kind of green sauce, the fried egg. And you take that soupy enchilada back to your table, and that's just the best goddamn enchiladas I've ever had. And it became our little tradition of we would go to Gadzooks before we'd go to shows. So, and it's only in Arizona, and I'm not there anymore, so I need somebody to go enjoy it for me. Gadzooks. That's a delicious enchilada. You know, I've been playing the UFC again recently, and it's just like, it's hard being a leftist and an MMA fan, because the UFC, MMA, Dana White, and plenty of fighters are definitely like super right wing, and it's just like, I get it, it comes with the territory, but you hate to see it, you know? And like, what's crazy is, I remember that interview that Sean Strickland had with Theo Von, and like, hearing his story, I felt so much empathy for him, and it's just like, oh man, this is what it is. Like, growing up, you are preparing for a mission of some sort. Like, you think that this is what life is about, and this is what you're preparing for. And so if you never get that moment to do what you've been planning to do, or what you've been training to do in your childhood, you're left like so empty inside afterwards. Like, he thought he was going to have to defend his brother or defend his mom against his abusive dad, and like fight to the end, you know? Like, he was ready to not be here anymore in order to protect, you know, his brothers or his mom. And that day never came, and his dad just died of like cancer, and so just kind of withered away in like a shitty way, like a crappy way. And it's like, dude, I've been preparing my whole life to fight you to the, you know, to the end, and this is how you go. And so you just never got that closure, or like, dude, I've been preparing my whole life for this. This is all I ever think about. Like, I would lay under the bed and listen, you know what I mean, and stay up all night making sure that like nothing happened. And like, you know, so it's, this person's left so empty inside with a hole they can't fill because that opportunity was taken from them. And but then he says things about gay people, or like, you know, woke people, or, you know, whatever. Just like, it sucks. It sucks that Republicans are people too, and it's like, they've also been through trauma. But it's like, you're so shitty, it's hard to find. It's like, I remember, like, you know what, I think I like Sean, like, he's not so bad. And then a couple weeks later, he's saying like just awful shit again, and you're like, oh, right. Like, this is why I wouldn't like a Sean Strickland. But like, again, I completely understand and empathize, like, the kind of guy that he has turned into based on his childhood. But yeah, so I don't know, you know, it's like, I understand it. I just wish that he would understand that his life turned out the way it did. Like, you know, when you go through abuse like that, you think that nobody gives a fuck about you, because like, the teachers didn't do anything, strangers didn't do anything, like, nobody seemed to intervene in this obvious abuse. But it's like, no, dude, you have no idea. There are millions of people out here who would walk through fire to save you from that situation or get you out of that situation. So you grow up with that mindset that like, nobody gives a fuck about me, so why should I give a fuck about anybody else? And that informs a kind of individualist right-wing mindset. And and what I wish I could convey to him is that, like, well, it's, you know, it's Republican policy that defunded your school, that didn't have the funding or the resources necessary to recognize and help you in that situation. Or, you know, Republicans refuse to raise the minimum wage or to pay people more money, so, you know, you grew up poor and your family didn't have enough money to survive, and that causes extra stress, which contributes to your parents abusing you because they're fucking stressed out and angry all the time. And so it's like, look, there are policy positions and things that have affected your life that have made you into the person that you are today, because it fucked up your parents. Like, capitalism fucked up your parents, and so your parents fucked you up. And yet you like still believe in, Western ideas and capitalism and et cetera, and it's like, that's what literally ruined your life. Like, the reason why you have so much trauma now is literally because of capitalism, patriarchy, and white supremacy, and like Republican ideology. But again, then they say something awful or disparaging about other groups of people, and you're like, oh, all right, never mind. Like, I was gonna go through the emotional labor of trying to like help this person heal or improve, but never mind. But somebody's got to do it, and that's the hardest part. It's the hardest part with the Republicans, and it's the hardest part with men, because like, I know a lot of women are over it and shit like that, and they don't want to center men at all, and whatever. But it's like, okay, but we can't just continue life like ignoring all men, like ignoring half the fucking population, and trying to exclude them from like, well, men suck, so we're not going to talk to them anymore, and they're not going to participate in society. It's like, well, then you're just going to get a whole bunch of more mass unalivers and etc. It's like separating people from the community or from the village is like not the answer, and if anything, you're going to make the problem worse. Like, we need to get through this together, not separately, because men are hurting too, and these Republicans are hurting too. Like, they're losing their houses, they're losing their mortgage, their retirement, their investments, and shit like that. Like, I mean, I love a Republican fucking around and finding it out as much as the next guy. But again, like, I don't know, you have to be able to zoom in and zoom out, Like, men suck, right? Men don't deserve shit. But you can't treat your man how you treat men, because it's two different things. And like, yeah, Republicans suck, but an individual is just somebody who doesn't know any better. I feel like it's only fair to go after and like attack or like roast or make fun of like people who are cocky or arrogant in their opinions. If somebody's just like, oh, well, if we raise minimum wage, won't that raise the prices of things? And it's like, well, then if they're like that, then just be like, oh no, actually, well, this would happen and this would happen and rah rah rah. But if a person's like, nah, socialism, the worst evil that ever happened, it's so stupid, we should never do something like that. And it's like, well, look here, you dumb fuck, you can't even define socialism for me, so maybe you should shut up. But literally, no. There are so many, right-wing TikTok accounts on here that have such strong opinions about socialism or communism, and it's like, brother, you couldn't even define that shit for me. You probably couldn't even define capitalism for me. So, like, maybe figure out what it is before you have such strong opinions about it. It's weird. It's like it feels like I'm making good time, and then I look and it's like, no, it's about the same as it always is. It's like, what the hell? But right about here, it starts getting tough. It's because my apartment's right here. I'm like, I don't need a drink. I don't, though. But I do. The copium. I'm like, let me try to speed walk through this. God bless it. Here's one for the fellas. I was at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk with some family and some friends, and there was like a haunted walkthrough that you could do. And once we get inside, it's just a dark, narrow hallway. and a mirror, and it says a sign like, hey, the scare actors can touch you, but you can't touch them. And I'm like, they can touch us. And me and my friend look at each other like, hell no, brother, we're out of here. Or like, time to turn back around and fucking, get out of here. But, and so we did. We walked right outside. We walked right out, back out the entrance. And we're like, nah, we're not doing that. And so, if you ever want to sleep with anybody, try to imagine that. Like, sex is at the end of the hallway, but it's at the end of a dark, narrow hallway where the scare actors can touch you. Probably not going to go through with it, But if you create a nice, open environment where anything can happen, it's like, look, there's food, there's snacks, there's games, we could just watch a movie, like, we could do this, like, we don't have to have sex tonight, or, we don't have to hook up. And you just create a nice, open environment. Then it's like, well, yeah, I was probably going to choose that. But, again, it's how you present the options. When you act like that's the only thing that's going to happen tonight, or the only thing you're trying to do tonight, it's like, even if she's interested, that's still a scary, dark, narrow hallway to fucking walk down and figure out what's on the other side. So yeah, like, you need to focus on everything around the sex. How's the conversation? How's the vibes? How's the ambiance? What's been going on? What clues? You need to constantly be listening. Because I feel like a lot of the times men get disappointed with not getting any. But it's like, dude, she was giving clues all night that, like, she was not going to be in the mood later on. You just weren't listening. And I'm not listening to my body telling me it's time to turn around. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get a drink because those extra steps are too much. And yeah, I'm eating my lips up because I'm just sweating my ass off. But day 15, I guess I believe it. I'm here, aren't I? Cause honestly, I don't mean to break so easily under the pressure. Need some time alone, need some tree and fresh air. Miss me with the fake apologies, you're being extra. We did it. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm very much not okay. God damn, I hate when I get out here late. It's getting hot. Hot and getting hot and I watching a TikTok and stumbled across a banger of an Anthony Hamilton song. I'm a mess. I'm a mess right now. It's true. But you know, I remembered Charlene, and I remember coming where I'm from. I'm from. Sometimes you gotta walk to work, yeah. But I forgot about I'm a Mess. That's another fucking banger right there. The first time I ever saw Anthony Hamilton was a guest performance on The Chappelle Show. Like early seasons of The Chappelle Show. Anthony Hamilton, I think he's just in the kitchen. Just singing in the kitchen. But that's the first time I ever heard Anthony Hamilton. One of the smoothest cats in the game today. Or one of the smoothest voices in the game today. Anthony Hamilton. Damn. I need to figure out what that Darius Rucker song is that I like. From his solo stuff, not Hootie and the Blowfish. We're almost there. My back and shoulders already hurt. My eyes are burning. My knees are shaking. But I make my own grease, cause I'm baking. Y'all see that TikTok? If you're gonna fry potatoes, what do you need? If you're gonna fry some steak, what do you need? Oil. If you're gonna fry bacon, oil. No, you don't need no oil when you fry bacon, baby. Bacon got its own oil. Bacon makes its own oil. Turn to somebody right now and say, I like bacon, baby. All right. 37, 38. Whew. I can't believe it. Again, it's not physically, it's emotionally and spiritually can I get through this shit. But I'll see y'all tomorrow.